got Savannah Lee Richardson on the line from Bulldog Illustrated to break down the game between Georgia and Georgia Tech. Old-fashioned hate in Atlanta coming up on Saturday at noon Eastern time. Georgia Tech, I thought, was a pretty good football team at one point this season. They played Miami down to a fourth down play, 25-24 game. They beat a few decent teams, but recently they lost to Duke by 23 points last week. They lost to Virginia a couple of weeks ago. What do you know about the Yellow Jackets?
Well, they have Twan Marshall, who is their quarterback, and he's a threat more with his legs more than his arms, but he does have the ability to throw the ball. He's 41 of 107 for 889 yards with 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, but what gets him the most success for Georgia Tech is his legs. He's already gone for over 1,000 yards, along with Cavante Benson, who also has over 1,000 yards. So you have 2 guys that can utilize their legs against Georgia's defense this week, and the defense has to stop them. I mean, Georgia Tech runs a triple option offense, and that's something that you don't really see hardly anymore besides the Navies and stuff like that. So it's something hard to prepare for. But one thing that Kirby Smart mentioned on Monday was they've been kind of doing this all season long, taking a day or so to really focus on cut blocks and what triple option teams do, or predominantly guys that like to do the lower blocking with cut blocks. And so it's been kind of a readjusting to that all week. It's cool to see how they adjusted their tackling dummies to lower for the D-line. The linebackers are getting like the big round tackling dummy kind of things, like almost essentially thrown at them to be pushed down. It's been a real focus to stop that, because the first thing you have to do if you want to stop a triple option team is to stop the dive and then go on to the corners and stuff like that. So that's what Georgia's really been focusing on. And John Atkins, the senior nose guard, has a really big task this week if Georgia wants to be successful and stop Tech. And that's his job, is to stop that dive area. And without him being able to stop it, they're going to put points on the board. I mean, Georgia Tech's not a team that you shut out. They're just not. So it's just, Kirby Smart said yesterday, you have to score against them to beat them and not miss opportunities like Georgia did last year with field goals and stuff like that. So it's going to be real interesting how Georgia stops Marshall and Benson, but those 2 guys right there. And then you mentioned earlier before we went on, Ricky June, their kind of main target if they do have to throw the ball. So Georgia's got to keep an eye out for all 3 of those.
Yeah, there's not a big secret what Georgia Tech's going to do running that triple option attack, and they attack the nose tackle, and it's up to the quarterback to read the defense and make the best option on the fly and make the decision after he takes the ball from center. Now, for Taquan Marshall, when he puts it up, that's not very often. So Georgia Tech's thrown 108 passes this year. So do the quick math, 10 games, 100 passes. They only throw it 10 times a game.
Yeah, they only average like 88 yards in the air.
Taquan Marshall's got 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, but he's only completing 38% of his passes. So you're never going to see a Georgia Tech quarterback complete 65, 68% of their passes, but 38% awful. Justin Thomas, their previous quarterback, usually hit on 50 to 52% of his passes. As you mentioned, the 10 times that they do decide to throw it, they're going to throw it to Ricky June most of the time. The second leading receiver for Georgia Tech has 4 receptions. Ricky June has 23, 22 yards of reception, 5 touchdowns. He's the guy. They're going to run, lull you to sleep, try to throw it deep. They don't throw passes underneath. They try to hit it for big plays, and that's pretty much their game plan. They want to throw it. Against a team as good as Georgia, they're not going to get away with throwing it 10 times. It's probably going to be more like 12 to 18 times unless they get way behind. Then they're just going to have to put it up. And that's what they're going to try to do. Run for 350 yards, throw it for about $120 on 10 to 15 pass completions, and walk away with a big upset win. But it's going to take some doing, because Georgia Tech has not been playing well. It's a team that went 9-4, beat Kentucky in a bowl game last year. This season, they got off to the kind of start, despite a loss to Tennessee, that you thought they were capable of doing and repeating that type of performance here with 9 wins this season. But they have not played well in the past month, and the defense has definitely let them down, giving up 43 to Duke and 40 points to Virginia over the last month.